I think one of the misconceptions about like recruiting and hiring is that you're essentially a piece of the puzzle, and the company is the larger puzzle board. So what they're looking for often really comes down to like finding that perfect puzzle piece to fit in their vacancy.
Yeah.
And you can have the right qualifications, you can, have the skills, you might know somebody in there, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you'll kind of fit that puzzle, because what's on the other side of it is what's additive to the team. Like, how is that team thinking about the individual that they're hiring beyond just the raw technical skills? Like, maybe what's complementary to that team is somebody that's a little bit more extroverted and can go and evangelize some of the work that the team is doing. Maybe the superpower that they need on the team is somebody that's really good in like a specific technology or something, right? Like,
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different dimensions that don't completely appear on the surface level,
Yeah.
especially in a job description.
Wow. Yeah. So what questions tease out these traits?
So I encourage candidates to ask throughout the hiring process the tough questions, right? Like, interviewing is a two-way street. As much as you are being interviewed on your qualifications, it's also an opportunity for you to understand the environment that you're stepping into. And a lot of the times, getting signal on like, who's doing this job now, who was doing it before, why did this person leave, what's going well, what isn't.
And you'd be transparent with that.
Well, if asked the question, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I would be doing myself and the person a disservice, right, for them to be misinformed about the opportunity that they're stepping into.
No, these are great questions. I mean, a curiosity shows they care.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think sometimes people can get lost in trying to say the thing that they think people want to hear, right, on the other side of it. And it's very easy from where I sit to like sense that and flush it out.
We just had an episode with our EMT instructors as they wrap up interviews for residency. And so there were three of them, and then a fourth is a first-year resident. And so they were reflecting on that process of interviewing, bringing their authentic self forward, as well as showcasing a curiosity about the program they're interviewing for and whether or not that program would be a good fit. So, which reminded me of that. And that's amazing.
The curiosity is a big one.
Yeah.
There should be no instance where you're wrapping up the interview and the interviewer is asking if you have any more questions. There should be no scenario where you're like, no, I'm good. I think I've got all my questions answered. Even if you have, even if you feel like you've had a lot of your questions answered already and you have really good context on the role and the position, if this was your first day, like, what would your questions be, right?
That's a good way to put it. Because I wonder if they don't have any questions because maybe they feel they're too silly.
It's possible.
You don't want to look stupid, right? It's just like, but that's a good way to put it. It's like on day, if this was your day one, like, what would you be curious about?
Sometimes people are burnt out, right? Like
so from your perspective, you probably do your best to create a safe space.
Yeah. I mean, I try to, let them know that I run a transparent process, and I think that goes a long way in building trust and rapport, especially when it gets to later stages in the process of like, finding a team or negotiating a salary and things like that.
Okay. So, what's the market like now? Is it saturated? Is there still demand? Like, what's it looking like?